It's time for a quick time update of the Board of County Commissioners meetings of September 4th and September 18th. With me is Larry Werner, Interim County Manager. I'm Lloyd Higuera. And Larry, commissioners at the September 4th meeting heard an update on the status of the Douglas County Community Senior Center.
Yes, it's really interesting. This is one of the few projects that's actually come in on time and under budget, and the opening is going to be December 6th, 2014, and I think we're looking forward to getting everybody in there to kind of take a look at it.
Well, that's incredible. That really sped by, and it's going to be this year.
Yes.
December 6th. That'll be fantastic. Commissioners also approved establishing water rates and fees and charges for the Douglas County Carson Valley Water Utility Fund for 2015 through 2019.
Right. You know, after a lot of discussion and meetings with the residents or the users of the system and the county commissioners, it was finally determined that the rate of 2.6% per year for the next 5 years would be appropriate, and that's what was finally adopted.
Okay. And then from water to sewers, commissioners also approving increasing monthly sewer rates for the Douglas County Sewer Utility District for the same time period.
That's correct. Although there were no changes to this one as they were based on cost of service, the 3.25% that's being proposed and actually was adopted is what's necessary to make that operate viably. So that again will be a 3.25% increase for the next 5 years for the sewer treatment.
Okay, and also at the September 4th meeting, commissioners approved an employment contract for our new county manager, Jim Nichols.
Yes, and we're all looking forward to that. Some of us more so than others, I guess. But yes, after a lot of debate and stuff and a lot of interviewing, a lot of process, Jim was selected as the county's top candidate, and there was a contract, and the contract got approved. So we're looking forward to that.
And he'll be coming on board?
On Monday the 29th.
Okay, very soon, very
yes.
quickly. Okay. Commissioners gave final approval to an ordinance prohibiting medical marijuana establishments in Douglas County. So is this the final?
That's correct.
Word?
There was a second reading on the ordinance, and after publication, these ordinances go into effect. So Douglas County won't be looking for licensing medical marijuana establishments. So.
Okay. Commissioners also gave final approval for an indoor gun range as an approved use here in Douglas County. That's with a special use permit.
Correct. As we talked before, it's not that anybody had any issues with the gun range, it's just that it never fit our zoning code. So this is the second reading of an ordinance that actually now establishes in our zoning ordinance and allows for a process for a person to apply for having an indoor gun range.
Okay. And commissioners also approved the purchase of a new patrol boat and trailer for patrolling Lake Tahoe, the Sheriff's Office patrolling Lake Tahoe.
That's correct. Over the years, the Sheriff's Office has always used hand-me-down boats, and finally, the last one I think they got from the Department of Wildlife ended up sinking through a cracked frame structure. So rather than going with used boats that are already worn out, it was finally determined that the county needed to have its own boat. And after due diligence by the Sheriff's Office, looking at both used and new, they came back with a recommendation to purchase this particular patrol boat. So.
Okay, and commissioners also approved changes to Douglas County Code to allow and set standards for a solar photovoltaic facility on certain properties here in the county.
Correct. Again, this was a second reading, and finally to get it adopted into the zoning code. And this particular code, I think, kind of looked at both ends of the spectrum. In some areas, allowing more ability to put in photovoltaic facilities, and then also putting in some safeguards that they weren't obtrusive in the neighborhood. So I think this is kind of a good one all the way around.
Okay, and commissioners approved the adoption of the 2014 Douglas County Bike Plan funded by and prepared by Nevada Department of Transportation for areas outside the Tahoe Basin.
That's correct, and this is exciting too, because now it opens up the opportunity for capital improvement programs and for, really starting making some connectivity on the bike and pedestrian trails. So this one should generate a lot of interest over the next few years.
Okay, that pretty well covers the meeting of the 4th. And now let's take a look at the meeting of the 18th. That was held up at Lake Tahoe. And at that meeting, commissioners directed staff to begin a process to select a person to fill the unexpired term of former clerk treasurer Ted Throng.
Right. And sometime back, the last meeting in August, I believe, we accepted Ted Throng's resignation effective September 1st. And we opened up for candidates to apply for a clerk treasurer. But at the time, we hadn't identified a process, and so we needed to come back and really sit down with the board and understand how we wanted to do this. So we did come up with a process. We will be reopening the application period, and then we'll develop the method by which the applicants are vetted and a recommendation of the top 2, 3, 4 candidates, however that works out, to go to the Board of County Commissioners for their interview and then final selection. Hopefully, we'll get all that done in the next 60 days.
Okay. Commissioners also approved moving ahead with an outreach to Douglas County's general improvement districts to gather information and make sure the GIDs are in compliance with Nevada law.
Correct, and actually there's twofold here. We've had requests from GIDs to help appoint people into vacant trustee spots, and as they are not able to get candidates to run for these offices. And then we've had other complaints where people have been concerned about being able to find where their GID meets and attend the meetings. So based on that, we felt it was appropriate to maybe contact all the GIDs, see how things are going, and identify if there are other problems out there, then sit down and try to figure out, okay, what do we do with this? Rather than deal with these one at a time, as we have 15 GIDs that we need to deal with.
Okay. Commissioners also upheld the Community Development Director's decision to suspend a vacation home rental permit at State Line.
Right. There was a show cause hearing on this particular property after the county had received some 54 complaints since 2010 and about 23 of them in 2014, mostly related to parking issues, noise. There was non-compliance with the code on advertising and that sort of thing. So the Community Development Director felt it was time to get this person's attention that they really needed to comply with county law and recommended a suspension, which the board agreed with. This person had appealed it to the board, and the appeal was denied. That they now have to comply. They'll be out of, I'm going to restate that. They won't be able to rent this for 90 days as a vacation home, but and then they can come back and reapply, but they'll have to comply with all the terms of the county requirements.
Okay. And Commissioners also approved a service agreement between Douglas County and FIWI Communications for 6 strands of fiber optic at a cost of $100,000.
Correct. The county received 6 strands of a fiber cable that came through the town called Digital 395, I believe was the overall program to extend it throughout the state. Now this contract would then work with the FIWI Communications to take those 6 strands and start tying county facilities together with the towns, the school district, whatever is most appropriate, but it gets that process started to make use of those 6 strands.
And that should speed up the internet a lot.
It should, yes.
Rocket speed. Commissioners accepted grant funding from the U.S. Department of Justice on violence against women in the amount of $470,000.
Right, and this is the 7th year that this program's been in the district attorney's office being funded by this particular grant program, and in the heat of all the problems of the economic downturn and all that kind of, it really says a lot that the federal government still provides Douglas County with the level of funding that it has for this program, which again I think just really speaks volumes to how effective it's been, you know, the actual results of using this money and what the Douglas County District Attorney's Office has been able to do.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you for all the information here on the QuickTime update of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. I'm Lloyd Higuera for Interim County Manager Larry Werner for the QuickTime update.